Hello, Internet. The Morgan You Know podcast network presents Balls Brew.
Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us here for another edition of the flagship sports podcast here on the Morgan You Know podcasting network. I am your host. My name is Rod Morgan. How about that? Works out. Joining me are my three fellas that I love talking sports with, much the same way you probably talk sports with your fellas, if you like talking sports, that is, possibly at a sports bar, enjoying a brew. And you're probably talking about a game that involves a ball, thus the name for this podcast. Joining me, we couldn't sound the way that we do. We wouldn't be on the internet. We wouldn't have a live stream video component coming at you with another one of our podcasts on this network without this man. He is James Thomas Chamriska, my good friend since the third grade. Jimmy, how are you?
We love football here, and we're going to talk a lot about it. The good news is no real controversy this week in anything.
Certainly not. There's nothing we can talk about that will have differing opinions from all four of us on this podcast. And a man who absolutely loves to play contrarian, and he's been doing it for almost 100 years now. It's our friend, the old man, Chris King. Chris, hello. How are things down there in North Carolina?
It's starting to actually get cold down here, Rod. I'm not for that. I'm supposed to be in the South. It's not supposed to get cold.
And by cold, you mean what, 61, 62 degrees as we are bracing for 30s and 20s up here in northern Indiana?
It was actually 33 degrees this morning, unprecedented down here.
Wow, goodness gracious. A man who knows what 33-degree mornings feel like because Williams' headquarters is just a scant, I don't know, what do you say, Williams? 12, 13 miles maybe as the crow flies from my house to yours over there in South Bend. It's Josh Williams. Josh, hello.
No, it's less than that, man. So it's probably like 3 miles from our houses.
I'm not good with distance. I was never a distance runner. I was more of a sprinter, and I was not even fast, so that's why I didn't get medals at that either. Track was not for me.
You literally drive around the entire city like all day long is what you do, right?
In my defense, though, it's like one area, right? Like I basically, like, you know how a hamster after a while with like you give it feeder pellets at certain parts, will just know exactly how to run a maze the same way every time. That's basically what I do, right? I got to run the route the same way every time, right? I literally
food.
Well, no, I don't have food. Food doesn't motivate me. Just getting off work and getting out of the hellscape that is the post office. That is enough motivation I need to make all of my right and left turns to get to where I'm going. But we're not here to talk about the mail. We're here to talk about the NFL. And I have a cool little game cooked up for us. Mr. Williams has his 3 picks that he will make. I'm not sure that we're going to get to anything Chris doesn't know, but trust me, every single comment that he makes, you will know that he doesn't know anything. It will be just fine. And Jimmy, I want to start with our heel and face because I know you can do it quickly, and I know that your heel will then lead us into another little discussion that we want to have.
Sure. I've just been so excited to do this heel and face gimmick because let me tell you, it's amazing. Josh Williams, last week on this show, or the week before, I don't know, gave us the MVP odds for Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's going to be the MVP this year because of what they did to Philadelphia face of the week, Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I do remember sitting back and watching that game and just being like, man, that's our guy. I felt a sense of pride, right? What I did is I felt a sense of pride because I was like, that's our guy. He came on here. He took all of our guff, frankly. We all blew him a bunch of smoke for giving us more Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan love. But Chris, I'll be damned if our boy wasn't right again.
Yeah, listen, Purdy showed out in a big game. That's what the 49ers do, is they show out in big games. I still don't know if that is enough for us to nominate Purdy as the MVP. He did lose 3 games in a row this year when he didn't have Deebo Samuel. I think that makes a big difference in the MVP voting. How do you do when some of your stars aren't there? I'm not even sure Purdy's the best player on the 49ers.
See, I told you he loves playing contrarian on this podcast, and he's coming out hot right from the start. Williams, he says no on Brock Purdy MVP. What do you think? You were the man who made the call. You had to be like a proud papa there watching your boy Purdy tear him up.
Okay, so yeah, what we got one thing right there, and he's down to plus 280 now on Caesar, so that's a huge drop. If you tailed that, you got him at 14-1 last week. I don't disagree with Chris. He's not the best player on the Niners, but if you think about this, and it doesn't matter what we think, it matters what the NFL has thought for the last 15 years. They just always give it to a quarterback. What I was concerned with was if you're going to throw it short, they're not going to give credit to all the after the catch yardage. So that's what I'm concerned with. But check this stat out, and I'm hoping that these voters know this stat. 48.6% of Brock Purdy's total yardage has come after the catch. That sounds like it's not a good stat for him, but that is less than the last 3 MVP winners. In 2020, Aaron Rodgers was 52.2. In 2021, Aaron Rodgers was 52.7. And I cannot believe this, but in 2022, Patrick Mahomes was 54.3. If we get this stat out to voters, Brock Purdy has a chance to win MVP.
Well, listen, the last time I was counting MVP voters that listen to this podcast, I think we were at about 37. So, I mean, I think we can sway
We have a
about,
shot.
yeah, we could sway about 1/3 of the vote there. So, listen, I love the stats. I love that Aaron Rodgers gets twice on there because I forgot he won back-to-back MVPs recently. We had a great discussion about Aaron Rodgers last week. He's not going to hijack us this week. Jimmy, who is the heel? I think it's going to take us to another type of football that is played mostly on Saturdays, no?
Yeah, so I kind of went off the board here. We're gonna go heel of the week. Is that selection committee for college football? It's so difficult when you have a format that is wrong and bad and screws over somebody no matter what. There's five Power 5 conferences. There's 4 spots in the show. And it finally happened where an undefeated Power 5 scheduled tough, beat everyone, got left out. And we don't really have there's no one that says this is why we did it, this is what happened. There's nothing like that, and I think that that's a bad way to go about it. Obviously we're changing it again, but Greenberg said it might have said it best. I mean, I'm not really like angry about it, but it's kind of like figure skating where judges just say this is what you get. Games don't matter.
Well, Chris, you said it yourself earlier in the podcast. You're down there in the South, right? The hotbed for college football, right? You got to be fired up about this. You're closest to Florida men down there in North Carolina. What do you think?
Yeah, so I understand what they're saying when they say they don't think they're one of the better teams because they don't have that starting quarterback anymore. But these guys, this team went out and won the games without him that they needed to win to finish the season undefeated. I can understand wanting to put Alabama in there. They beat Georgia. So my question to the committee then is, are you wanting to put the best 4 teams in the nation in that, or do you want to go with the 4 teams that deserved it the most? Because if you want to put the 4 best teams in there, you would include both Alabama and Georgia because they're 2 of the top 4 teams in the nation by far. Definitely better than Texas now and Washington, I think. And I know you want to put Texas in there because they won the Big 12 and they did beat Alabama, but that was at the beginning of the year. And if the beginning of the year doesn't matter as much, why does Texas get that benefit over Florida State?
Williams, you are our college expert around here. You watch much more of the college ball than any of us. Where do you come down on this?
I mean, I'm not an FSU fan, but this sucks for college football. This sucks for college football fans. Why would the committee not drop FSU right after the Jordan Travis injury? You have them stay at number 4 for multiple weeks, and then you decide to drop them after they go 13-0 on the final rankings. I mean, come on, man. You're totally driving a knife through all those FSU players. They were treating FSU like a MAC school. How come nobody on ESPN brought up the fact that the backup quarterback would have been back for the semifinal? How come no one from ESPN brought up the fact that they were underdogs versus Louisville in their conference championship game and won by double digits with a 3rd-string quarterback? But they weren't impressive enough, Rod. Really? How about Alabama? How come no one on the committee brought up the fact that Alabama beat a bad Arkansas team by 3 points? They were in a dogfight with South Florida in the 4th quarter. And oh, yeah, they had to convert a 4th and goal from the 31-yard line just to beat a 500 Auburn team. And how about this? We had our first rankings in 2014 for the college football playoff. An undefeated Florida State team finished 3rd in the rankings that year behind 2 different one-loss teams. Fast forward to the last year of the 4-team playoff this year, we have an undefeated Florida State team finish 5th behind 2 different one-loss teams. You can't make this stuff up. And how about the committee has to put in the best group of 5 school for a New Year's 6 bowl. Liberty was undefeated, but they played the easiest schedule out of any team in the country. SMU, on the other hand, won their conference, had 2 losses, but they went out and scheduled an Oklahoma and a TCU, who they beat. but the committee picked Liberty to go play in a New Year's Six Bowl. And when they asked the committee chair why, he said, no joke, this is what he said. Well, they can only play who's on their schedule, and they were dominant on the field. FSU fans had to be screaming at their TVs when they heard that. So like Chris said, is it best? Is it the four best teams? If it is, you left Georgia out, so that's not it. Is it the four most deserving teams? It's not that, because you left FSU out. So I'll leave you the breadcrumbs here. Who created the BCS? Roy Kramer, the former commissioner of the SEC. Who has ties with the Longhorn Network? ESPN. Who has ties with the SEC Network? That would also be ESPN. What did you start to hear? Oh, this conference is a grind. This is why we can't travel. We can't play in inclement weather. Oh, this conference is so tough. That's why we only play 8 conference games. Does anyone ever want to bring that up either? That they're the only Power 5 conference that plays 8 conference games. Everybody else plays 9. Everything changed after the mid 2000s. It's because ESPN has the rights to these SEC teams. I mean, that's basically it. And in 2004, there was an undefeated Auburn team. I don't know if you guys remember that team that had Jason Campbell, Ronnie Brown, and Cadillac Williams. That team got left out for a Big 12 and a Pac-12 team. That would never happen today. Never, ever. It's all about the money. It's sad for college football fans, but that's what it is. It's like a TV show. It's not even a sport.
There you go, Mr. Williams. I love that you finally listen. You're right. I'm not going to dispute any argument that you had or any argument that Chris had, but I'm going to echo a little bit more of what Mr. Jamriska started us with here. I don't feel sorry for Florida State at all. It's all made up. It's a made up committee. It's a made up Final Four. These are made up bowl games with sponsors. It's all just a complete joke now. Florida State, you want some advice from a humble little podcaster here who only checks in on college football casually, which clearly the committee is the same based on the fact that they have no criteria, no reason to ever vote for anybody. Go out and get the coach from Colorado. All right. I understand his record wasn't great at the end of this year, but I'll tell you something right now, Florida State. If your coach was Deion Primetime Sanders, the prodigal son returning home coaching Florida State, no chance the committee leaves you out of the college football game. It's all made up, made for television anyway. Go get Prime, be entertaining. You'll never get left out again, Florida State.
I will say this, Rod. I don't think you realize this, but a couple years ago, Deion stole one of these high value recruits from Florida State. And these Florida State fans went so crazy that they were burning Deion Sanders jerseys in their backyards just for taking a recruit. These Florida State fans are something else.
Well, you know what else would be something else? If Deion was the prodigal son returning home. I mean, do you see how crazy they went with Colorado at the beginning of this year? Come on. Deion riding in on a horse, right, into Tallahassee for the first time, wearing the white hoodie. People would be going crazy. Florida State fans are not going to be thinking about the recruit they stole a couple of years ago and burning his jersey. They're all going to be going absolutely crazy, and they're going to be blasting that album that Deion put out back in 1993 that was terrible, and remembering the time he hosted SNL and saying he was one of the greatest hosts of all time. All right, Florida State fans will be happy as a pig in slop if he comes back home. Jimmy Jam, your thoughts?
Cleveland Cavaliers fans burned LeBron James jerseys and they gave him big hugs and kisses, and I got him a championship. Yeah, you're correct right there. And I think next year, I think we have a 12-team playoff next year. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
And people are going to say, well, they're still going to fight about. Yes, they are going to fight about the 13th and 14th teams that are left off. But there's a big difference there. The chances of the 13th and 14th team being undefeated, Power 5, almost none. I mean, it's not going to happen. So at least this way moving forward, it will get settled somewhat on the field.
Jimmy Jam, you know how we love a good old-fashioned gauntlet match over in the WWE? Do you think we could figure out some sort of way where we could have like a gauntlet championship where like one team just like the winner stays on the field and then all these competitors just keep coming out after them? I mean, injuries be damned. That sounds like it'd be an interesting television program.
So instead of the first one to get a pin, it's the first one to score a touchdown. Other team jumps off. Defense up for the third team comes on, and we keep going. I like the a lot. I think that would be fine. I don't see anything wrong with it.
No, we got 12 teams now. We got to get it done in a condensed way. We got to figure out new things. Listen, we can talk about this in the offseason. People should listen up to us. Now, let's move back to what we are better at talking about. That is the NFL. I have cooked up a little game for us. All right. There is a big mishmash, in both conferences right now. There is a number of teams that you could give a compelling case for to still able to qualify for the playoffs at the end of the year. So we have 3 different categories we are going to put teams in. All right. We'll get to those in a minute. But basically, it's going to be get ready for the playoffs. Don't get ready for the playoffs. You got no chance, or we're really not quite sure yet. So monitor the situation. We're not going to bring up the 4 division winners in each conference as of taping, which is Thursday night, December the 7th. So certain teams will be left out that way. And the dregs of each conference will be left out. So we'll have about 8, 9, maybe 10 teams that we're going to talk about here. The boys are all going to give their opinion, and that's how we will do it. Let me start in the A. No, let's start in the NFC. Let's start in the NFC. I like the AFC better because the Colts are there. So teams we're not going to be asking about for our purposes: Eagles, 49ers, Lions, Falcons right now are the division winners in the NFC. So here is the first team we will ask. Chris, your Cowboys, should their fan base be getting ready to make reservations for the Great Wolf Lodge in January because they have no chance at making the playoffs? Should their fan base be squirreling away all of their secondary income because they'll be buying playoff tickets before you know it? Or should they just stay as is and monitor the situation because it's too murky right now to tell? Which category does Dallas fan base fall into?
The Dallas fan base has got to fall into playoff tickets are coming. All right, squirrel that money away. You're going to have to buy those playoff tickets. I mean, they're head and shoulders above just about every other wild card team that's out there that's not in the lead of their division in the NFC. They're right up there with the Eagles, the 49ers, as far as the level of talent they have. So yeah, playoff tickets are coming.
Jimmy Jam. That's probably the easiest answer we're going to have. No, Cowboys, absolutely. Get ready for playoff tickets.
Yeah, Cowboys getting the playoffs isn't the issue. It's what they do when they get to the playoffs. It's the big issue. So, yeah, Dallas, you can buy your one set of playoff tickets for sure.
Williams, you hate little contrivances like that like this that I do. You don't like getting down on the record for predictions too often. So I'm sure you were way excited to be playing this game here and ready to no sell me at every turn. So I imagine though on this one you're going to say the Cowboys definitely are going to be in the playoffs.
Yes, they're in the running for their own division. So yes.
Ooh, there we go. A little saucy from Williams there. Let's move into right now the team that is number 6 in the wild card race still somehow. Your Minnesota Vikings with the Pastronaut, Josh Dobbs as their quarterback. Jimmy, we'll start with you this time. What should the Vikings fan base do?
I love Josh Dobbs. He is amazing. He is Josh Dobbs. The Vikings fans, make those reservations. Make sure you get there early. You don't want to get there too late with all that stuff in the pool. I don't like it. You're making your reservations at Great Wolf Lodge. The Vikings are not going to make the playoffs.
Ooh, Chris will go last this time. Williams, I'm coming to you in the middle. What are your thoughts on the Vikings?
I think it's murky. I want to back them. I think that defense is really coming into their own the second half of the year. It's going to be real close, I think, in that whole division.
You say the Vikings are a monitor. We're monitoring the Vikings situation.
Yep.
I like monitor. I dig that. I'm okay. That's the only time we'll allow fence sitting here on the Morganino podcast, but it works for this game. Chris, what should the Vikings fan base be doing?
I mean, yeah, I think you got to monitor it. They're one of the 4 teams that are 6-6. They do have a kind of a tough little schedule. They have the Lions, Packers, and Lions to end their season. Those are 3 in division games. Really, they got to win 2 out of those 3, I think, especially against the Packers. They better win if they want to upset them. It's iffy, so I would monitor the situation.
Nice. All right. Let's go to the Packers. As Chris said, a lot of 6-6 teams. Williams, Packers fan base, what should they be doing?
Yeah, I think this is another monitoring. I think they might have the easiest schedule out of the 3 out of Minnesota, and I know you didn't want to throw in Detroit, but I'm throwing in Detroit in here. I think this division is still really up for grabs.
Wow. How about that? I say Packers fans should be buying their playoff tickets, but that's just me weighing in this time. I haven't weighed in any other time. Chris, how about you?
I have more faith in the Vikings and the Pastronaut than I think I do in Jordan Love. I know Love's been playing better lately. I'm still not sold. Um, To be honest, I think if you're a Packers fan, you made your reservations for the Great Wolf Lodge a few weeks ago before you even
Wow.
got to this spot.
Wow, Jimmy, I completely disagree with the old man. Where are you at?
Well, no, you made your reservations, but then you called and canceled because you're going to the playoffs. I've got them. Playoffs are coming. Here's the thing. I don't like the Packers. And they got another good quarterback, and it really ticks me off. Jordan Love, just give the guy some time. He's been fine. They're going to make the playoffs. That's why I have the Vikings so low. They're going to make the playoffs, Rod, and it sucks.
Jimmy, I love that you are not fence sitting for me so far. I absolutely love it. You know what, Jimmy?
Nope.
I'm gonna throw a bone your way for being
All
not a
right.
fence sitter. We're gonna go to your squad,
You
your
dick.
LA Rams, Jimmy. You've
Oh,
gotten
my
yourself in
Rams.
trouble. You've gotten yourself in trouble on this podcast before with predictions about the Rams. What should their fan base, that quite frankly includes you, should be doing about their playoff chances?
I'm a big LA fan all around. My Chargers are doing well as well. I'm not gonna set the fence here. I think the Rams are gonna make the playoffs.
Wow.
I'm gonna say it. Book it. All you but the good news is their fans don't buy tickets anyway, so they're not really out anything. But
There you go.
I think the Rams are gonna make the playoffs.
Chris, you sat on the fence for me a couple last times here. What do you say about the Rams?
No, I think you got to get those funds ready, Rod. Uh, next 5 games they have at Baltimore, which is going to be tough. But then they have the Commandos at home, the Saints at home, at the Giants, who worries about the Giants, and then they have at San Francisco on the last week. They win those 3 games, they're guaranteed a winning record. I think that gets them into the playoffs.
I love that, Chris. I think that's a really good pick there. Williams, what do you think? Are the Rams going to the playoffs, or maybe Great Wolf Lodge, or are you going to fence it again?
I mean, I think Great Wolf Lodge, but man, I think that this team's got 6 wins and 4 of them are against Arizona and Seattle. Like they beat up on the division. So I don't know. I don't think that they're going to beat Baltimore at all, and I don't think they're going to beat San Francisco at all. So they have to win. I think they have to win all 3 of those middle games. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not as big a fan of the Rams as I am the other teams.
So no playoffs then, right?
Yeah, I'm saying no.
Rod,
Ooh,
I got him. I got him.
You did. I'm proud of you, Jimmy Jam. All right, let's move along here. The Seahawks. I had big Seahawks talk, big Seahawks energy coming out of me at the beginning of the year. Chris, where are we at now with the Seahawks fan base?
I would be nervous. All right, you got some tough games coming up. You have the Niners, the Eagles, then you have the Steelers, and then the Cardinals for the last game, which we know the Cardinals can just do about anything on any random week. We never know what's going to happen there. I think that schedule's kind of tough. I think you should probably make reservations if you're a Seahawks fan.
Reservations for the Great Wolf Lodge?
Yep.
All right. Williams, what do you say for Seahawks?
I think you got to monitor it. I like this team better than the Rams, but I know they lost both games against the Rams, but I just feel like this is a better overall team. It's just a bad matchup against the Rams, but you're right. They have to win one of these 2 against San Francisco or Philly. I think they can get the last 3, and there's no reason why this defense should be playing as bad as or as poorly as it is right now. So I think they got the offense going last week against Dallas. So I think we'll see Seattle take a step up here in this last month.
Jimmy Jam.
To be a wild card, I think you've got to get to 10 wins, and I can't see them getting to 10. I can't. I'm doing math, and it's not going to happen. I have Seahawks making reservations at the Great Wolf Lodge.
Nice. All right, here's how we're going to wrap up the NFC. I'm going to put the Saints and the Buccaneers together, and I'm not going to ask you guys to group each one of them. Which fan base should have more confidence, in your opinion, Bucks or Saints? Chris?
Saints.
Williams? Bucks or Saints? Because clearly with this team as well, we're not talking about them being a wild card. We're talking about them maybe being able to overtake the Falcons. So which of these 2 teams do you think should have more confidence that they might have a shot at the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm going to go Bucks.
Bucks. Jimmy Jam.
I think the Saints have more weapons. I'm going to go Saints.
I love it too. Jameis Winston is now my fantasy quarterback thanks to an injury to Pickett and Trevor Lawrence. So come on, Jameis, baby. You could throw 3 picks, but at least throw for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns and give me a couple of points. All right, that's all we need. Let's move over to the AFC. All right, we know for our purposes today, teams that we will not be talking about will be, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs. There we go. The Miami Dolphins, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that means we will be discussing the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is an interesting one. The Steelers have been the cause of many interesting discussions on this podcast. They fired their offensive coordinator. Their quarterback seems to be down. The biscuit, Mitch Trubisky, is now their quarterback. They're playing on Thursday night. I must admit, I didn't even think about turning that game on, so I have no idea what's happening right now. Jimmy, Pittsburgh fan base, what should they be doing?
I know what they're doing right now, Rod. They are leaving the stadium, and they are getting their tickets to the Great Wolf Lodge. I'm sorry. It's just not going to work out. Pittsburgh needs a quarterback. I think maybe the Bears made a great decision getting rid of Trubisky. Maybe not. We'll see what happens today, but I think they are going to go to the Great Wolf Lodge. No chance they're making the playoffs.
Chris, Steelers, you're a former Pittsburgh resident. I know this hurts your heart to have to say what I think you're about to say here.
Oh, no, you're making reservations at the Great Wolf Lodge, all right? Yinzers are not getting to the playoffs this year. You can't give up 21 points to a team like the Patriots.
That's true. The Patriots haven't scored.
Some people don't want to hear all the scores.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Williams does not want to hear that they scored 21 points in the first half. Bailey Zappi's the MVP. He does not want to hear that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but it does not look good in Pittsburgh right now. I think all the luck that was helping them win games early in the year has ran out. I don't see them being able to win 3 more games.
Williams, where should Steelers fans' playoff thoughts lie?
Remember when I used to do the luck rankings and Chris would always just roll his eyes? He hated the luck rankings. You know who's the luckiest team in the league is this year? It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so we're starting to see some of that luck run out. I don't like that they have to play 3 out of their last 4 games on the road, man, at Indy, and then the last 2 at Seattle, at Baltimore. Nobody has a tougher schedule there at the last 3 or 4 games than Pittsburgh. So, yeah, I'm going to say get your reservations ready for the Lodge.
Nice. Let reservations for the Lodge. We are going to continue with a theme here in the AFC. We just said Pittsburgh's QB was down. The Browns have lost their starting quarterback, Deshaun Watson, and we're not entirely sure which of their backups is going to play this week, but it didn't matter last week. Their backup looked pretty good. They're still 7-5. They still have an outside shot at the playoffs. Jimmy, what should Browns fans be thinking?
I need to look at the Browns schedule because let me tell you.
Jags, Bears, Texans, Jets, Bengals.
Oh, it's not really a murderer's row. A lot of backup quarterbacks in there.
Are they going to make the playoffs?
Yes. Yes, they are.
There's a real scenario where they win the
Browns
rest of their games.
There's this decision where there's a scenario where they can win their division, which I gave everyone at the beginning of the year. The Browns fans, get your funds ready. All right, get your dog.
Yeah, you had
ready.
Joe Flacco. You had Joe Flacco leading the playoffs, Rod. Great
Of course,
call.
I didn't say anything about Excellent. Joe Flacco, Jimmy. I'm not trying to say that I'm a soothsayer, that I can see the future. But what I am saying is I said the Browns are going to be a good team, and they are a good team. Maybe they're not actually a good team, but they're going to maybe win their division. And that's all that matters. I'm going to be right. I told you Myles Garrett was good. He's been good. Let's go, Browns. Get yourselves a big old box of Milk-Bone dog biscuits and have those things ready for playoff games in January, maybe even as division winners. Williams, come on. Am I crazy?
No, I think they're going to the playoffs.
Oh, God.
Chris, your thoughts?
Yeah, get your money ready. I think Cleveland's going to the playoffs as well. Like I said, there is a scenario where they could win all 5 of their last games and up with a 12-5 record, which would put them right there in the playoffs, possibly competing for their division if Baltimore falters.
All right.
Why does no one listen to me on my prediction? Oh, there's reasons why no one listens to me. Never mind.
I was about to say, Jimmy, as you were saying that, you could literally see the light bulb over your head, and you're like, I know why no one ever listens to my predictions, because I tell people never to listen to my predictions. Speaking of something that I never do, I never say that the Colts can't win football games. I never want them to lose for any reason. I always am 100% in on the Colts winning at all times. I've been the driver of the Colts fan bus all year long. And as of right now, the Indianapolis Colts are 7-5 and qualified for the playoffs with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. Jonathan Taylor, who needs him? Set out the first four. Gonna miss a couple more. Receivers, who needs them? Defense, Shaq Leonard, get out of here. We got Shane Steichen and Gardner Minshew. That's all we need. Jimmy Jam, Colts, what should our fan base be doing?
You know, the Bengals is going to be a tough game. Steelers are going to win. Falcons are going to win. Raiders are going to win. And Texans will be a tough game. But if they get 3 wins, that's 10 wins. They're going to playoffs. I think they're going to the playoffs, guys.
Chris, you're nominally a Colts fan at times when you don't want to talk about the Cowboys. What should Colts playoff fans' chances be?
The amount of ridiculousness that spewed from your mouth just a few seconds ago has shocked me beyond thought, Ryan. I can't believe you were just spouting that type of stuff. I never want the Colts to lose. I think you need to get that money ready for the playoffs too. Like Jimmy's right. I think they can win 3 of these next 5 games, maybe even 4. You get to 10 wins. I think that keeps them in that wild card at the 6 or 7 spot. Get that money ready.
Let's go to the number one Colts hater on this podcast, Josh Williams. Williams, what do you say about Colts fans' chances for the playoffs?
Just like last week, I was telling everybody last year that Colts weren't as bad as what their record was, and now this year they're not as good as what the record is. I mean, this Colts team is not very good. I think they have an awesome coach, and I think you guys should be pumped that Steichen is your coach and that Anthony Richardson is your future, and that Minshew is a fun backup. But this Colts team is not very good. That doesn't mean that I'm putting them in the monitoring situation because their schedule is pretty easy. So, but this team, if this team makes the playoffs, I'm fading them big time in the first round.
So wait a
So,
minute, you didn't
playoffs,
actually
Williams?
there.
Answer.
Huh? I said monitoring. That we're monitoring the situation.
Monitoring. You're a monitor.
If you made me pick, I'd say no.
You're a hall monitor. That's what you are, you big nerd.
I can't
come aboard the Colts bandwagon. Your Bears are terrible. Come
They
aboard
are.
the Colts bandwagon.
I can't see the secondary making the playoffs. I just can't. If they do, man, Steichen should really get votes for Coach of the Year if this team makes the playoffs.
All right, listen, we got to wrap this up to get to your picks here. We spent too much time on the NFC, and that's fine. Here's how we're going to do this now, all right? Texans, Broncos, Bengals, Bills, Chargers, Raiders, all supposedly still have an outside shot. I say Chargers and Raiders really do not. Bills still have a great roster. Bengals have a backup quarterback. Broncos have Russell Wilson, and we literally call them a turd of a football team. Texans, Williams, of those 4, Bills, Bengals, Broncos, Texans, which fan base should have the most confidence?
Probably the Texans because of that coaching staff and because of that schedule. They still have 4 games left with the Jets, Titans, and Colts. So, and that's a revenge game with the Colts at the end of the year, and they get to play Cleveland at home. So, yeah, I think Houston. What a job by D'Amico Ryans this year.
That would be so. Then, but if Houston makes the playoffs along with the Colts and the Jaguars, that would be absolutely insane, considering what people said was going to be the AFC South. So I think maybe even though you said the Colts are monitoring, you sort of just backhandedly got the Colts out of the playoffs there by saying the Texans as the one of those 4 teams, didn't you? You sly devil, you.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, if you guys want to root for the Colts, that's fine. I've been the division, and I even said this preseason, the division that has been my absolute kryptonite this year has been the AFC South, and that was the division that I've been was the least sure on, and I've been terrible on that division all year. So maybe that's hope for your Colts.
Colts fans, you heard it here first. Josh Williams gave you permission to be a Colts fan, only here on the Morgan You Know podcast.
Nice.
Jimmy Jam. Jimmy Jam, what of those 4 teams do you think fan base should be the most excited?
It's the Texans because they're making the playoffs. They are a great team. I mean, they have done everything they needed to do.
So are you prepared to give the 3 AFC South teams take right now then, Jimmy?
Yeah, I am. I think they're all 3 going to make it. The thing is, if people would run the ball against the Colts on every single play, the Colts would not win another game. They cannot stop the run, right? But they don't do it, and the Colts win games. So that they're going to get in the playoffs. Texans are going to get in the playoffs. Bills are scared of themselves. There's something going on. Bengals, the quarterback isn't there. And then the Broncos, I'm good. So I think the Texans have the best shot at it.
That's the most
How-
apt description of the Broncos anybody's ever given right there.
How
Broncos, I'm
dare you
good.
guys on the Broncos?
Yeah,
How
you can
dare
talk about
you?
the Broncos some other time, Mr. Williams. I'm in on the Bills. All right. I still believe in Josh Allen. I even think there's a scenario where you could give me Josh Allen for MVP right now. And if he wins some of these big, huge games against top level opponents and makes the Bills, drags them into the playoffs, you could convince me Josh Allen could still be MVP. So I think it's nonsense to three AFC South teams can make it into the playoffs. So Texans out for me, Colts still in. Give me the Bills. Chris.
It's going to be the Browns, the Colts, and the Texans in the playoffs, Rod. That's who it is. The Bills, there's something going on up there, right? And I think it's a little bit of Chargeritis, all right? They're acting a little bit like the Chargers. They have apparently a good quarterback who can't do anything other than, I mean, he's trying to do everything, but he just can't. Like, what is he responsible for? Like 78.6% of their entire offense. They get no kind of rushing. Uh, he can't do everything. I think there's something going on there. I think the Von Miller thing is going to end up being a distraction as well. I don't think they finish the season that strong. I don't think they get there. And I'm good with the Broncos too.
Wow, I can't believe three AFC South teams. So I'm going to be completely on the other side of that. All right, we have an AFC South team right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I guess basically a lot of us think that they're still just going to hold on to their grip on the division, even with CJ Beathard at quarterback. But will CJ Beathard only be at quarterback this week? Will he not even be a quarterback? I don't know. The Jags are being awfully murky. Mr. Williams, you have some thoughts on this game. What are they?
Yeah, before we get to that, real quick, you know who has the tiebreaker on the Bills? The Denver Broncos. Okay. Browns -3. I'm taking -115 on FanDuel. And listen, the one game I got wrong last week was the Browns. I guess I'm a glutton for punishment because I'm taking them again this week. A short week for the Jags here. And not only that, they just got beat to hell against Cincy in that Monday night game. No Trevor Lawrence. I'm assuming no Trevor Lawrence. No Christian Kirk. No Walker Little. That's their backup left tackle that went out that got hurt on the same play that Lawrence got hurt. They lost their stud nose tackle. Trey Herndon left the game with a concussion, their cornerback. Greg Jr. got hurt. I mean, they had a ton of injuries in that Cincy game. And CJ Beathard really isn't that mobile. That Browns D will be healthier than last week. And Cleveland's only allowing 10 points per game at home. They're allowing 30 points per game on the road. So you're going to have 10 plus mile an hour winds at the start of this game. And another thing to think about with the Jags here, like they're going to be starting Beathard, a backup quarterback, a third string left tackle to protect a backup quarterback that doesn't really have the strongest arm. And oh, by the way, have to do it against a Browns D that's top 5 in pass rush win rate. The Browns play a lot of man coverage. The Jags' best man beater is Christian Kirk. He's out for this game. And some ref stats here. Ron Torbert's crew is calling this game since 2016. Home teams are 68-49 straight up. 60% of the handle is on Cleveland, even better. 89% of the money is on the Browns here. Give me Cleveland at home, -3. We got some harsh weather conditions versus a Florida team with a backup quarterback that doesn't have a strong arm. And that, remember, CJ Beathard is like the only quarterback that Kyle Shanahan couldn't make work. CJ Beathard under Kyle Shanahan, 2-9 record. When you have that bad a record with Kyle Shanahan, I'm suspicious of you even being an NFL quarterback. So let's go Browns here, -3.
It's like that old Tim Tebow line. If you've ever met Tim Tebow, your life is better for it. That's what Williams basically applies the Kyle Shanahan principle to. If you've ever even shaken hands with Kyle Shanahan in any scenario, you should somehow be able to play quarterback. If the Jacksonville Jaguars lose this game, like you're saying, I will love it. A, because that makes the AFC South a heck of a lot juicier for my Colts. And it means the Browns will be ever closer to making me smarter. And we all know that ultimately all I really care about is being smart. So I love that. Let's move on to Chris's neck of the woods, the Carolina Panthers, who proved me wrong with the dead coach bounce last week. But we're going back to the well versus New Orleans Saints. Chris, were Carolina fans disappointed they did not get a win with their new interim coach?
Carolina fans have essentially just realized the truth that we are not going to win with an owner that treats his franchise like a hedge fund, where you trade away your best assets when they're at their highest value instead of winning games. It's not how you're going to win in the NFL.
Well, there you go. A defeated fan base in Carolina. Perhaps our handicapper, Josh Williams, has good news for you. I don't know what his pick is here. Let's find out.
I do, I do. And Rod, even though we didn't get the outright win with the new head coach, we got the cover with the head coach because why? Teams or the Joe public does not like backing what is perceived to be bad teams. A one-loss Carolina. What did I say like 4 or 5 weeks ago when I was back in Denver? You called them a turd of a team because they had one
Did.
win and they went out and won 4 in a row, 5 in a row, maybe. I'm backing this Carolina team again. They were getting 5.5 last week against Tampa Bay. They're getting 5.5 this week, minus 115 on MGM. I think Tampa Bay is a better team than New Orleans. And since the bye here, this Panthers D is 9th in EPA per play. That may surprise a lot of people. The Saints D in that same time frame, 28th in EPA per play.
Yeah. That's fine, but you're picking against Jameis here. All
I
right.
am
You
picking
buried the
against
lead here.
Jameis.
You're picking against Jameis here, and I don't like it. All right.
I,
We all know that I'm pro Jameis on this podcast.
I am pro Jameis fantasy. We'll get to his real life numbers in a second. The Panthers got J.C. Horn back last week, their stud corner. And when J.C. Horn is active, Carolina is 8-4 against the spread in their last 12. You've got Taysom Hill on the injury report for 2 different ailments. You've got the Saints who play a lot of man coverage. Adam Thielen has been real good versus man. You got Chris Olave who's banged up. And we get a famous Jameis sighting this week. Like I said, we all love him in fantasy, but when he is a favorite in the real NFL, he's only 8-19 against the spread. That's 30%. And what's even worse is Dennis Allen. When he's been a favorite 22 times in his head coaching career, he's 5-16-1 against the spread. It's like 22%. He's missing the cover by almost 5 points per game. The Saints have been favored 10 times this year. They've covered once.
Another popular Williams punching bag, Coach Allen. All right, there we go. Speaking of punching bags, the New York Giants. They seem like a punching bag from time to time. Green Bay versus the Giants. We had some interesting Green Bay discussion, Mr. Williams. I noticed you kept quiet because you probably had some good Green Bay nuggets for us here. What do you got?
I do. And if you remember last year, in the London game, I took the Packers against the Giants and lost that game. I'm going reverse style here. I'm going Giants plus 6.5, coming off the bye, minus 105 on MGM. Not very many people realize this, but the Giants D in 5 of their last 7 games have held their opponents to less than 20 points. The 2 times that they didn't, they were both on the road. This game will be at home on Monday Night Football, off a bye, versus a team coming off short rest. And the Packers are coming off their best game of the year last week in primetime versus the Chiefs. So what does that mean? That means all the Joes out there just watch Green Bay on a standalone game, take down Patrick Mahomes and the mighty Chiefs. They looked awesome. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they didn't. By the way, in the preseason, I was telling people that everyone was too low on this Packers team, and they seem to be putting it together to make a late run here. But this is a week-to-week league, and you always have to be leery of the team that looked phenomenal the previous week on primetime, no less. So now the public can't wait to inflate that line. This is a massive letdown spot for the Pack here after hosting the defending Super Bowl champs and beating them. Now they have to go on the road to the lowly Giants and take on Tommy DeVito and his mom's lasagna in a game where you could easily see them coming in overly confident. Also, Wink Martindale's defense is totally different than Spagnola's. He's going to be bringing those blitzes from every which way versus Jordan Love. And both Aaron Jones and Christian Watson are very questionable for this game. Pack this season on the road when they didn't play an NFC North foe, 0-4 straight up. And now we're getting 6.5 here. This line is inflated. My advice here is wait some more, and then wait some more. See if the public bets this line up to 7, and then come in and back the Giants at that number. Give me the Giants all day on Monday Night Football.
So Williams essentially right now is giving you the advice that you had to give to little kids around Christmas time, right? When they know that Christmas presents for them arrive in the house, and you're like, listen, wait. You don't want to open them early, all right? If you open them early, I don't care. Even if you're really, really good at rewrapping them, missing out on the surprise on Christmas morning is not worth it. So wait. And Williams taking those huge heavyweights, the Carolina Panthers and the New York Giants this week. Chris, your thoughts?
I mean, it's the NFL. Anything's possible week to week. I do see it as a big letdown game for the Packers. I already told you I'm not a believer in Love yet. So I could definitely see the Giants winning a game that they shouldn't win. And we get some of his mom's lasagna this week. I mean, it's got to be good, right?
Tommy used to work on the docks. I'll tell you, Union went on strike, and now he's playing quarterback for the Giants. Jimmy, your thoughts on Williams taking those powerhouses as we close out football?
I love the Panthers plus 5.5 because I don't believe in Jameis, unfortunately, Rod. I know. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. And the Giants, is it 6.5 of the Giants is what you've got it on, right? That's a lot of points to give, especially from a team that actually played decently. Yeah, I think those are. I like the underdogs there, Williams. Good job, bud.
Plus Brian Daboll off a bye.
There we go. Daboll, that defensive genius, Brian Daboll, who's turned around that Giants defense here in the last couple of weeks. Shout out Wink Martindale, I suppose. All right, we will say goodbye to our football handicapper, Mr. Williams. He only speaks about sports with oblong balls. He doesn't like round balls, so we'll let him go. But do you have a quick futures thought for us, Mr. Williams, before we go?
Yeah, if you tailed the Purdy 14-1 MVP bet last week, and by the way, he's down to plus 280 on Caesars now, so hopefully you did. You can hedge a little off that if you want and take Dak at plus 350 on DK to win the MVP. 5 of his last 6 games, he's thrown for at least 299 yards, and in those 6 games, he's got 20 touchdowns and 2 picks. And I think he's going to add to that because who is he playing this week? The extreme pass funnel defense that is the Philadelphia Eagles. Philly just gave up over 450 yards of total offense again, and were outgained by over 100 yards again this last week versus San Francisco. That's 5 games in a row now where this Eagles D has been outgained by over 100 yards, and it's mostly been the pass D. The boys are averaging 41 points per game at home this year. They know this is an extremely important game to get if they want to bypass Philly for the division and be able to host multiple playoff games. But if you didn't tail the MVP Purdy take last week, don't fret. I've got something for you that pays out slightly better than plus 350 Dak for MVP, and you don't have to wait until February to get paid out on this one. If this hits, you would get paid out late on Sunday night. And that's because I'm taking Dak at 4-1 to lead the league in passing yards for all the Sunday games on DraftKings. So if you look at the weather schedule, a lot of these games have weather in them. You're getting Dak against Philly primetime Sunday night. I think the Kansas City Buffalo game, I think some of those the rushing yards will come into effect in that game. Give me Dak most passing yards 4-1 this week.
Chris, do you think your Cowboys will hang something in the Ring of Honor for Dak leading the NFL in Sunday night passing yards in the 2023 season?
All day Sunday.
I mean, if that's a prerequisite to get on the Ring of Honor, why not? I mean, I think he's already etched one up there. They're giving one to Jimmy Johnson now.
I just mean a separate one, right? Like just that one thing. Just like, I mean, it's got to be one of the greatest accomplishments in Cowboys history. A organization steeped in history, but I mean,
they'll put a plaque above his locker. They'll put a plaque above his locker.
The plaque for that is in the ladies' room, to quote Top Gun. So let's move on to a fast break where Jimmy Jamriska will lead us through. We'll have Jimmy being host. Chris and I will be takesters, and Mr. Williams will be seeing him next week as the fast break comes at you.
Welcome to the Fast Break, the fastest 15 minutes in the NBA. I'm Jimmy. Chris and Rod are with me, and it's a nice time to take a little break. We've got the mid-season tournament going on. Let's take a little recap of our season so far in our wins pool that Rod, myself, and Chris King have. Chris King, you have 100 total wins for your entire team so far. The teams that are killing you right now are the Wizards, who have 3 total wins, and the Memphis Grizzlies, who have 6. Chris,
He chose Memphis.
Just to let you know, Chris, if you would have taken any of the 10 of the next 12 picks after your pick, you would have a better record than the number one person in the league. And that's because, and that even includes the round after you picked the Grizzlies, or 2 rounds after you picked the Grizzlies, was our pick the bad teams round. 2 of the bad teams have more wins than the Grizzlies. So actually, one of the bad teams, has more wins than the Grizzlies. So Chris, you've got 100 wins so far. Rod, you also have 100 wins so far, randomly there. Your Pistons and Spurs are killing you.
Yes,
killing you. I haven't had to change the Pistons win total yet on our screen. They still have 2 wins. The Spurs have 3. Hornets also only have 6 wins for you, so not very good.
Yeah, I chose the Spurs, and the Hornets.
So
e me on those.
Yes. Jimmy, hey, I am 2 for 4 of our wins. Like Chris still haven't won a week yet, but that's okay. We'll get there someday. Rod has to as well. Trailblazers, Rod, thanks, man.
I
You know,
know.
you gave me a good 6 wins there. The Utah Jazz have 7, but I've got the Nuggets at 14, the Magic at 14, the Cavs, the Warriors, Oklahoma City, and the Clippers even, and the Pelicans. Everyone except for those 3 teams that I mentioned. The Rockets even have 9 wins. So I'm doing really good at 107 wins. So that's my story of the week. No, but the story of the week and the only story of the week that we have to talk about. Chris King, I'm going to give this one to you. What is the biggest story of the week?
The biggest story of the week is the Pacers, right? I mean, is there a bigger story
yes,
this
Chris,
week?
yes, that silver platter right to you, sir. Yes.
I was, I don't want to put it past you to give me a trick question, Jimmy, but like at least
You're like,
I was like, it's got to be the Pacers. There's nothing better going on right now, right?
The Indiana Pacers are in the finals of the in-season tournament, the IST, if you will, and they will be going against either the Pelicans or the Lakers, who are playing in the second quarter as we record this right now. The Pacers have defeated the Celtics and the Bucks back to back. I will tell you this, Rod. My children don't get along a lot. Okay, they have never been closer. And by the way, the words coming out of their mouths in the last couple minutes of these games is ridiculous. They are huge Pacers. They are on that bandwagon. They've had so much fun with this. The Pacers, let's go, Rod.
Yeah, hey, go. Rah, rah, rah. Indiana, you guys won some games in December. Congratulations. You guys beat the Bucks in a 1-game winner-take-all scenario. You beat the Celtics in a 1-game winner-take-all scenario. Awesome. I'm clapping for you. Let me give you a little golf clap. But let's see what happens when the Fieldhouse is home to a playoff game in May, all right, or maybe even June, all right? Let's see what they do when the Pacers can be adjusted against, okay, and they're a little running up and down the floor in the first 2 games, and we get a hold of them in games 5 or 6 or 7. Can you tell I'm a sore Celtics fan here, Jimmy? Is that
I was
coming
going to
out?
say, Chris, it's funny that Rod is both wearing green and I believe wearing a Grinch shirt as well. Of course he is. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a little sad that his Celtics got beat by our Pacers in a terrific game. I mean, that was amazing as well. But Chris, we've got a superstar on our hands. Tyrese Halliburton stepping up.
Yeah, he's doing it again. He's put 2 games in a row with almost 30 assists without a turnover, triple double against the Celtics, and near triple double against the Bucks, taking down 2 of the best teams in the East. I mean, if this in season tournament wasn't made for scenarios like this, and what was it made for?
True, and I think it's also we've learned something that the whatever this court they have is for these final games that's got to go too, because that's even worse than some of the other ones that we've had. Although the all red courts for the Bulls and a couple other teams were not good either. But that's my now wait a minute. Yep, that's the Rod Damnation of the Week music, I think. So it's the Rod Damnation of the Week.
But I do believe we should all follow one path in life, and if Kyrie Irving says we should do something, go the other way. My Rod Damnation this week, I had to wrestle back and forth, right? I had a way where I could go with their traditional Rod Damnation, and I could put somebody in the scope of my Rod Damnation rifle, as it were, who's been there before, right? Somebody who gave an interview to somebody and had a bunch of tone-deaf, stupid, egotistical comments, but I don't want to do that. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. My Rod Damnation is for any of you out there who are not appreciating LeBron James enough this season, okay? We all know who LeBron James is. We've known about him for 2 decades, but I don't think people are grasping exactly what this man is doing this year in his 21st year of the NBA. His scoring average, his minutes, his player efficiency, everything is absolutely off the charts. It's unheard of. We've never seen someone who is about to turn 39 years old later this month lead a team the way he is. He just had 31, 11, and 5 the other night in the in-season tournament quarterfinals game to get the Lakers to Vegas. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. The minutes he's playing, we're used to seeing the oldest player in the league be Udonis Haslem, who just comes in for a couple of token minutes every once in a while. And the oldest player in the league this year is LeBron James, and he's still one of the top 5 best players. It's absolutely ridiculous. So my Rod Damnation is for any of you out there who are not appreciating LeBron while we still can. It's amazing.
Chris King, are you a LeBron appreciator?
Yeah. And I have not been a big fan of his teams in the finals or in the playoffs. When he was with Cleveland and Miami, he seemed to always be knocking out my Pacers. So I wasn't a fan of his, but you got to appreciate him being essentially the best player in the NBA of his generation by far. I mean, the numbers that he's putting up in his 20th season now, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. Season number 20, and he's top 5 in the league easily. Still in the conversation every year as an MVP candidate. Every team that he's on still has a chance to make it to the NBA finals. I mean, it's phenomenal what he's doing. He's taking this in-season tournament seriously too, which a lot of other veteran teams seem to not do as much.
And they're taking it very seriously right now against the Pelicans. We'll see what happens at the end of the game there, but they have a pretty comfortable lead right now going into halftime. LeBron James is amazing, and I think the fact that he is staying healthy so far. But like Rod said with the Pacers, you got to be careful. We still have many months to go, and that Lakers team is one injury away from just unraveling, Rod.
That's why I said do it now, right? The chances of LeBron still playing at this level when we get to the playoffs are probably pretty slim. I'm smart enough to know that, but damn it, I'm going to try to enjoy it while I can right now.
And now it is time for the Kings Hardwood Hierarchy.
All right, we're going to get the court of jesters out of the way. All right. The Spurs and Pistons are in a seemingly contest to get to 26 losses in a row the quickest. It's pretty insane. I don't know how much more of this I expected with the Pistons, but like the Spurs, I thought we were supposed to see a little bit of a turnaround. I know it's not, you can't put it all on Victor, but I put a lot more of it on Pop and putting a team or getting a team ready to be playing with Victor. They're just looking absolutely horrid right now. So I wanted to get the. What's that, Rod?
Supposed to beat a dead horse, right? I think at this point we should just retire the Spurs and the Pistons from the Jester.
I was really hoping one of them would get a win, but yeah, like this is the official Spurs Pistons Court of Jesters of the week now. They are lifetime or season members. All right. Let's get to the real meat. All right. And I've told you guys this before, is what have you done for me lately to make this list on the Kings Hardwood Hierarchy? And the only thing I can do is go ahead and put the Indiana Pacers on the throne as the
Let's
king
go.
This week. You can't go out there and win or go home games against the top 2 teams in the East, beat them both, and not get rewarded on the Kings Hardwood Hierarchy. All right. They're the Kings.
You can't argue with that. They've won the biggest 2 games of the week. It is a weekly, week-to-week award. They're the Kings, no question about it, Chris.
Yep. That being said,
not happy. Rod is not happy.
No, he's not. Listen, if Boston would have won, they'd still be on the throne, all right? Because they're the queen. They're still the second best team there is right now. I mean, you can make an argument they're the best team in the league still, but you didn't win. You go home, you're out of the tournament, you get dethroned.
Listen, it's very similar problems to what we've seen out of Boston in the playoffs. So I got to admit, I'm a little worried. Little worried. I was kind of like, I've seen this before. We're just settling for 3-pointers and the ball's sticky and nobody passes it. I've seen this game before.
Yeah, a lot of closeout games look like that, haven't they? Yeah. So, and then Minnesota, you're still deserving to be in the top 3 right now. Best record in the NBA. I'd like to see a little bit more offensive efficiency, but their defense is second to none. So they're the Prince.
Did you give any thoughts to the Mouseketeers down there in Orlando? They're playing some hot basketball leading right into the in-season tournament as well.
Yeah, that's why they made the list last week, but not making it to the actual quarterfinals of the tournament. Not being able to play those important games this week. They did lose a game as well. Got usurped by the Bucks in the rankings. So fortunately, they weren't hot enough to stay up in there. But
Let me ask you guys a question. Were you guys prouder to be Pacers fans this year when they lost at home to the Blazers or when they lost at home to the Hornets? Which one of those games made you guys prouder to be a Pacers fan this year?
I think it was beating the Boston Celtics in the quarterfinals of the in-season tournament.
Yeah, I think I don't know why you would pick those two, Rod, to be proud. I mean, I think actually tonight was also pretty. So those would be down the list a little bit there.
You guys weren't real proud of your Pacers when they got stomped by the Blazers at home, gave up 140 to the Blazers. You guys weren't real proud of that one.
Were you real proud when you watched Boston just go ahead and lose to one of the worst defensive teams in the league in a winner go home tournament?
There we go. I just got you to make at least a dig to your Pacers by
Let's
calling them the worst
go.
defensive team in the league. I win. I win. You made a dig on the Pacers.
And with that, that has been the Fast Break on the More You Know's Podcast Network. Thank you for listening to Balls and Brew and this show and all other shows on the More You Know.
Goodbye, Internet.